This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and this video should just be a little bit of a quick update, I hope. After I get done recording this, I'm going to be recording a collab with Tony the Bull Severino, which will be out for you guys on Thursday this week. So today I've got a little bit of news, a little bit of bullish charts as always, and then we'll continue to look for these cycle lows and show you the real positions and public invalidations and all that kind of thing. So first things first, $110 million worth of Bitcoin shorts were liquidated in the past 60 minutes on this most recent Bitcoin pump. We've got the public company KULR raising up to 300 million to buy more Bitcoin. But this trend continues to continue. There just seems to be more and more of these companies getting Bitcoin exposure on their treasury. And once they've got their initial allocation, they tend to trend towards buying more over time. So pretty wild times. At the same time, 10 trillion asset manager Vanguard has just reported holding $7 billion worth of Bitcoin exposure. So remember that old adage of gradually, then suddenly? To me at least, and I'd be interested to know what you guys think in the comments below, but to me at least, it's starting to feel a lot like we are moving into that suddenly phase. Meanwhile, global liquidity continues to expand, as you can see from this lovely chart here from Root. Bitcoin is at the top in orange. Global lick is this blue one right here, continuing to push to new highs. You can see this is what it's composed of right here. And the global lick year-over-year change continues to move up as well. Again, telling us to keep an open mind about a little bit more upside here for Bitcoin. And no matter which angle you use, this continues to be the fastest moving asset class that the world has ever seen. Blackrock's spot Bitcoin ETF just became the fastest ETF in history to surpass 70 billion in assets under management. Okay, look at this. Hardly any time at all relative to the likes of the GLD, IEFA, VU, or IEMG ETFs. Technically speaking, the charts continue to look fantastic, at least to me, right? We just keep seeing higher highs and higher lows on the weekly time frame, and we continue to see the consolidations into the weekly cycle lows precede breakouts to new all-time highs before the whole thing repeats all over again. Right now, we've already had that pullback, the weekly cycle low down here. We know that's already in and confirmed. So are we about to see that final push to the upside? I think we are. And I see a lot of people pushing back on the idea that I'm keeping open to much higher numbers, much higher being 200, 250, 300k. Now, nobody knows how high this thing will go, and I have never really been in the game of picking a number and trying to say that's the top. In fact, I much prefer to be a trend follower and try my best to stay on trend until it becomes unreasonable to do so. But I can see a lot of people getting almost physically agitated by the idea that I think we could go north of 200k this year. And I actually think compared to some people's charts that I show on this channel, I'm much more on the conservative side of things. I'm certainly not calling for 320k by next month like I know some people are. But again, I'm open to it, right? If it's going to do it, then you best believe I'm going to be here for it. But I think this is much more conservative and totally reasonable and achievable to me, right? And that is 200k by Christmas. Here is 200k, okay? Let's draw a line across. And here is 2026. So is it totally impossible that the current cycle, which is this orange one, could do something like this? Is this totally out of the question and we could make 200k by the end of the year? Personally, I don't think so. I also see this very strong cognitive dissonance in my comment section sometimes. And that is people say silly things to me like, well, Bitcoin is underperforming again, or the S&P is doing better than Bitcoin. And I just don't understand where this comes from. Right, no matter how you measure it, whether it's from the cycle lows in 22 to the ultimate peak, whether it's year-to-date performance, whether it's the last year's performance in terms of 12 months rolling, in every single metric for this entire cycle, Bitcoin has massively outperformed practically everything. Unless you were one of these people that bought a meme coin that did 10,000x, then you've bet on the wrong horse unless you had Bitcoin. This is just objectively true. And I still see people complaining. And I still see people saying, yeah, well, only MicroStrategy's done well from the crypto stocks, or alt season's coming soon. And I just think, I'm not really sure what people want. I think this has been an absolutely fantastic cycle. We've had very little volatility to deal with compared to prior cycles. We are, whether you want to accept it or not, well on track for potentially seeing 200k plus by the end of the year. And you realize at 150k, that's a 10x off the lows for Bitcoin, without really having to accept any extreme degree of risk or volatility. 233% drawdowns, a handful of 20 to 22% drawdowns into the weekly cycle lows, and ultimately a 10x or more for this cycle. I mean, If that's upsetting to you or disappointing, or you think this is pretty hard, I would suggest that you're probably quite new to markets and you would probably do well to manage expectations. So anyway, all I guess I'm trying to say here is be positive, be cheerful, and 200k is in play. And I also think it might be worth considering that if you frame your mindset as, well, I'm open to 320k, I'm open to these higher numbers, whether it's 250, 200, whatever. If you frame your mindset as, I'm open to that, but I'm also prepared in case it falls short, then that's okay. But I don't think you want to exclude yourself from these higher numbers and just be dogmatic here and say, I know it's going to top at 120k, right? It couldn't possibly go up higher than 150k. Because in doing that, you absolutely will not be able to stay on trend for 200, 250, 300, should the market bless us with an opportunity to sell there. So as ever, the only thing I know is I don't know, but we'll keep taking it one day at a time. And I'm sure when we look back at the end of this cycle, we're probably going to have at least a 10x underneath us. And I guarantee you this, the S&P 500, even if David Hunter's blow off top targets at 8k SPX is correct, we're still going to be nowhere near a 10x from the lows, okay? So Bitcoin is still doing Bitcoin things. Been a while since I covered the dollar. This could well be it. Did we just form the double bottom? Are we just about to get the breakout finally? It's been a long time. It's been long overdue. This move certainly went lower than I thought it was going to, but we are very similar here to Bitcoin back at the prior weekly cycle low. Back in here, lots of people were trying to say to me, well, the weekly cycle's in, it's failed, you need to call the top, you need to blah, blah, blah. And I kept saying, look, there's no sign of confirmation here. We had no trendline break, no Brexit cross, no weekly swing low pattern, no bullish momentum. And that enabled me to kind of sit here patiently for another 30 odd days until we found it. And then we got all of those necessary confirmation signals for me to say, there you go, there's the weekly cycle low. And that's exactly how the dollar feels at the moment. Lots of people have been trying to say, well, why haven't you called the weekly cycle low, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is it's absent of all of the symptoms and hallmarks and characteristics of a confirmed weekly cycle low in here. However, get that breakout, even if it doesn't go above this high, at least we can say, well, we got a double bottom, we got a breakout, we got confirmation the weekly cycle low's in, and then we can look for failure. But as crazy as this yellow squiggle sounds, I still think something like this could be coming. Now, I know that's definitely not a popular opinion in markets, and most people are calling for this thing all the way down to 80 or sub 80. But from a cycle perspective, very similar, as I said, to Bitcoin back at that weekly cycle low, we were absent of all of the confirmation signals, and that's true of the Dixie. So I'm actually still leaning here, bullish bias, at least short term being defined as the next 2 to 3 weeks. But we'll see about that. I do notice the 10-year yield so far has topped where we wanted it to top, right? That was the last point of opportunity to see the 10 yields top and reverse for me to say, okay, we're probably still right in our assessment here, although we did get a bit of a deviation. We did, of course, make a higher low. So what we need to see now is that low taken out. We need to see lower lows come in here and no further higher highs. Otherwise, we're going to have to put on alternative scenarios. But for now, so long as that was the top and we've topped right here, right now, and this is coming next, then I'm going to stand with the base case for the yields. Bitcoin, there's not much to say, right? We got long. I notified the level 3 members in real time, as always, with the exact levels for entry and for stop loss. For everyone else, after the fact, we can come in here and say, let's make this stop loss public, so you know I can't possibly cheat it. The moment 98,222 is traded, I will be stopped out wrong on this position, and I will not therefore be able to come back and say I told you so after the fact, or try to claim like I did something when I didn't. So we're long and strong, okay? We're waiting for 150-ish K. I think we can get there, no problem, to be honest. And again, like I was saying earlier during my little rant, from about 15K bottom, 15.6, okay? 156K, that's a 10X. So who's complaining about that? You wanted more than 10X in 3 years? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Gold, still doing gold things, isn't it? Right? Still wasting our time. We know we need to waste the time and allow this time to elapse until we get to our future cycle low range, which I'm just turning on here. And we're almost there, right? Then we can look for this whole thing to be breakout, retest, resumption at the same time as it is showing confluence with a daily cycle low and a swing. And then it should be on like Donkey Kong, something akin to this. I would think, again, no one is bullish enough on this stuff. 36 handle for silver. Again, probably also only about a week and a half away from a cycle low and reversal, but happy days, right? SilJ probably close to a top here locally before we can get that pullback into a daily cycle low, and we will add there. Bunch of these crypto stocks pushing up as well. Again, level 3 members notified of all of that. And MicroStrategy close to confirming a breakout. The S&P still long and strong for now at least. So we'll see, okay? As you can see, not much has changed. Watch out for GME if you're a level 3 member. We got earnings coming out today. We positioned from this during the spill. Probably going to be some gaps. The question is, are the gaps to the up or the downside? We'll find out, but that should keep us entertained today if nothing else. Semis as well continuing to push up, so happy days there. Also added in the longer term accounts along with a bunch of these crypto stocks. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much that. Okay, we stay winning, we're going to keep doing us. Tomorrow's video will likely be a bit late because I'm going to go live for CPI, so look out for live CPI video tomorrow. Look out for Tony the Bull collab on Thursday, and then Friday we're back to regular schedule. Until then, take care, all the best, cheers, bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel